Hello and welcome to this journey through the history of computers. Today I want to talk about how computers started big and slow and became small and fast. We'll go from the very beginning to now, step by step. Let's start with the early days. Long ago, before electricity, people used simple tools to count, like the abacus from ancient times. It was small, like a book, and you moved beads to add numbers. But it had no power of its own. Then, in the 1800s, a man named Charles Babbage dreamed of a machine that could do math by itself. He designed the analytical engine. It was never built, but it would have been huge, like a big room full of gears and wheels. It could do simple calculations, but very slowly, maybe one sum per minute. Imagine that, a machine as big as your living room. Now, fast forward to the 1940s, during World War II. That's when the first real electronic computers were made. One famous one was ENIAC, built in 1945 in the United States. It stood for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. It was enormous. It filled a whole room. It weighed 30 tons, like 6 elephants. ENIAC used vacuum tubes, like old light bulbs, to work. There were 18,000 of them. It could do 5,000 additions per second. That sounds fast, but compared to today, it's nothing. ENIAC helped with war calculations, like aiming big guns. But it was hot and broke down often. After the war, computers got a bit better. UNIVAC was made this. It was still room-sized, about 10 meters long. But it could predict election results on TV. That was a big story. UNIVAC did about 1,000 operations per second. Still slow, and it cost millions of dollars. Only big companies or governments could afford them. What made computers smaller? The big change came with transistors. Scientists at Bell Labs invented the transistor. It was a tiny switch made of special materials like silicon. Transistors replaced vacuum tubes. They were smaller, used less power, and didn't get as hot. By the 1950s, computers like the IBM 701 used transistors. It was still big, like a few refrigerators side by side. But it could do 2,000 operations per second, twice as fast as UNIVAC. And it was more reliable. Here's an interesting story. Transistors led to the space race. In the 1960s, NASA needed small computers. The Apollo guidance computer was tiny for its time, about the size of a suitcase. It had 2,000 words of memory. It had very little memory, but it helped land man on the moon in 1969. Imagine that! It did 100,000 operations per second. That's 20 times faster than ENIAC, and much smaller. The next big leap was integrated circuits, or chips. Jack Kilby invented the first chip. It put many transistors on one tiny piece of silicon. This made computers even smaller and faster. By the 1960s, mainframe computers like IBM System 360 were used. They were cabinet-sized, like big closets. One could do millions of operations per second. Compare that to ENIAC's 5,000. That's 200 times faster. A man named Gordon Moore noticed this trend. He proposed what we call Moore's law. He said the number of transistors on a chip would double every 2 years, predicting how computers would shrink. This happened thanks to better materials and tiny manufacturing, like using lasers to etch circuits. Now, the 1970s brought microprocessors. In 1971, Intel made the 4004 chip, the size of a fingernail. This tiny chip had the power of early, room-sized computers. It did 60,000 operations per second. This led to personal computers. In 1975, the Altair 8800 was the first PC kit, sized like a microwave. Then, in 1977, the Apple II came out. It had a keyboard and screen about the size of a typewriter. It did about 1 million operations per second, 200 times faster than ENIAC, and small enough for a desk. Story time. 2 guys, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, started Apple in a garage. They changed everything. The IBM PC came out. Similar size, it made computers common in offices and homes. By the 1980s, laptops appeared. The Osborne one weighed 11 kilograms, like a heavy suitcase. It had a tiny screen, but you could carry it. Speed was around 1 million operations per second. What helped shrink them more? Better batteries, smaller screens, and even tinier chips in the 1990s. In the 1990s, Intel Pentium chips had millions of transistors. Computers did billions of operations per second. Laptops got lighter, the size of a notebook. We went from NEX 30 tons to just a few kilograms. That's a million times lighter and a million times faster than the giants of the 1940s. The internet boom helps too. The World Wide Web started, connecting computers globally. By the 2000s, smartphones arrived. The iPhone in 2007 was pocket-sized with billions of operations per second. A phone in your pocket now has more power than the computers that sent men to the moon. That's amazing. What made this possible? Nanotechnology, making transistors as small as atoms, using better silicon. Today, computers are everywhere. Cloud computing means data centers handle trillions of operations per second. The future and the present. Quantum computers are coming, solving problems in seconds. They solve problems that take normal computers years. They are room-sized for now, but getting smaller. From abacus to quantum. Computers went from room-filling giants to pocket wonders. Millions of times faster. They changed our world. What's next? Even smaller, faster, maybe in our bodies.